Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company, Tape Armor, and Rolls Gear. And you can find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob, and me and Randy, we had to be a little funny this week. There's a lot of terrible shit going on in the world right now. And we figured we would read some excerpts from one of my favorite books. It's called Don't Wear Your Gi in the Bar. And it's a pretty funny book on just jiu-jitsu and the funny situations that come from it. So me and Randy kind of talked about how we've encountered such things in our life and how we dealt with them. So we really hope you guys enjoy this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us on, our Facebook, our YouTube, our Instagram, all that good stuff. And we're doing shows live now, so the more the merrier when you guys show up. And we really hope you guys enjoy this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. I'm Rob.
I'm Randy.
And man, we're going to be, we got to be funny this week. We've been fucking depressing like the past 2 weeks, the past two episodes. We can't do this all the time. No,
it's been too sad here lately. We need to get back to our roots and start talking some shit or having some fun.
I know, because otherwise we're just going to sit here, we're going to cry. I'm turning down my phone so I don't disturb anybody. But, we're going to sit here, we're going to cry about stuff and, it's not productive, man. So...
No.
What Randy and I came up with was that we're going to go ahead and we're going to read some excerpts from, it's a book called Don't Wear Your Gi to the Bar. And it is by, forgive me, I got to remember what page this is.
Marshal something.
By Marshal D. Carper and Daryl Kaza. Hopefully I said y'all's names right. You might not watch this episode, but I hope I say your names right. But it was a book I actually got myself. And I read it from, what was it? From Wiesbaden, Germany to Munich. And I read it like fucking all the way through. It's an amazing book. It's very funny.
Oh, yeah.
Very, 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 very entertaining. So I think we're just going to read some excerpts and we're going to talk about some of our personal experiences pertaining to each thing. Because Lord knows, Randy and I have been at this a little while. So I think it'd be funny kind of to go through those things.
And I think too, it's important to, I read a lot of serious stuff all the time, stoicism or training materials or whatever. And you gotta lighten up the mood sometimes, man. You gotta have some fun and just read something that's easy like this and makes you laugh a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I think that's important. Kind of counterbalance all the damn darkness.
Yeah. Enough of the lockdown. We're being funny this time. If might be the first time ever we're funny, but we'll find out. So, do you have something you want to start out with, or what do you?
Oh, I mean, I think it's my section is a little bit further down. We're probably not going to be going any particular order in this whole thing.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
But also, I wanted to say before we get started that this book, I was surprised to realize is online, free, shareable. If you go on to Google it, look it up. Don't Wear Your Gi to the Bar. Support the author if you can. Go on and buy it on Amazon. It's a good book. I don't even know where my copy went, but it's a hilarious book. Good read. So just put that shout out there. But me being a coffee nut, one of my favorites in this entire thing, which you'll find when you look at this book, is that he breaks down kind of like scenarios that occur. That he makes up some of these. But in this particular one, it's in reference to like the office challenge match. And a lot of this book talks about things you shouldn't do as a jiu-jitsu guy, like wear your gi to the bar, right? But office challenge match basically starts out talking about, I'm not going to read everything verbatim, but just kind of get a, kind of build the picture, paint the picture. Spend enough time in the streets and you'll eventually find yourself interviewing for and landing a job. Streets are tough. And if you have any hope of surviving them, you have to find a way to pay for your jiu-jitsu tuition and buy a fancy limited edition gi. Origin gis are really good, by the way. That is produced in the same Pakistani factory that produces the more affordable gis. Which irony is that's origin aside, right? That's what sets origin aside, is that they are not made over there like a lot of other gis and in the same factories as rival companies. Origin's actually made exclusively United States. We're not sponsored by them. That's honestly an honest plug. They're just made in the United States with good quality shit. And so basically this scenario goes into, the typical challenge match that occurs in the office when somebody hears that you do jiu-jitsu and they think that you're the tough guy or whatever. And the reason why this is my favorite chapter is there's a section in this chapter called the Americana versus the Americano. And if you're into coffee like I am, you know that Americano is a single or double shot of espresso with water. And it's a delicious drink. Put some cream in it. It's fucking phenomenal. Try it out. But the Americana is a submission, which we all know in jiu-jitsu. They actually define it here as a lateral key lock, which is pretty creative, known in judo as a udegarame. It's a figure four-arm lock. For military, law enforcement people, that's the easy way of referring to it, right? And so the scenario that comes up, you're at Starbucks and you're waiting to make your coffee, and the guy in front of you get the coffee douche, right? And so the barista says, "Hi, welcome to whatever. What can I get started for you?" And he says, "Yeah, can you tell me what's in the coconut caramel mocha latte?" And it says, "Sure, 3 shots of espresso, coconut, fusion, mocha extract, and angel tears."
Is that true though? Is it?
It could be. I mean, maybe not angel tears. I usually prefer unicorn tears when I go to Starbucks, but
it's hard to find, man. Hard to find.
It makes it a little bit sweeter, a little bit, less salty. And so then he goes on to say, "What can you tell me about your source of milk? Is it from grass-fed, hormone-free, free-range cows? Are your coconuts from Thailand? Is it real, artificial? And are the angel tears organic?" That's the other thing. If you get unicorn tears, they're always organic. You don't have to question.
It comes from a unicorn. I've never seen a farm-raised unicorn or one kept in a cage. They're free animals,
Free-range, rainbow-riding fucking unicorn, right?
Beautiful.
Those tears are always organic. Yeah. And then the coffee douche says, "As long as your coffee is fair trade, shade grown organic, I'll just have an Americano." Which, if it's espresso through water, it doesn't fucking matter, right? And so by this point, you're pissed. People aligned with you are pissed. This guy's taking way too long. And then it scrolls down, and you see that he throws on a little. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he throws on a little Americano for his trouble over the Americano.
Yeah. But he's also wearing his gi in the middle of this coffee line, right?
So my question to you, though, is, in this book, he says don't wear your gi to the bar. Does that include a coffee bar, though?
I'd say so, man. So I'll interject and I'll say, back in the day when I did Taekwondo, I thought it was cool as shit to wear my Taekwondo gi everywhere and be like, "Look at this green belt. Fucking dangerous, motherfucker. Like, everybody better know I'm the toughest dude ever."
Yeah.
Now it's a hassle, man. I'd rather just, I'll wear gi pants because they look normal-ish. I'll just throw a hoodie on and call it a day.
Well, and you see a lot of people that do that. They'll wear gis into the gym. Like, they're clearly wearing them out, actually, I hate to throw them out there, but one of my buddies that I work with recently started jiu-jitsu. He's still a white belt. And he showed up to a work party wearing his gi pants. And I'm just like, come on, man.
He's proud of it, man. I guess I'll let him have his time to shine,
Yeah. He also did wear, to a Christmas party one time, he did wear pajama pants that had strippers on stripper poles all over them. So, for what it's worth.
It's a statement. Just go with it,
So what do you got, Rob? What do you got?
What, for Americanaing or key locking, as I like to call it, somebody in a coffee line?
You think at what point do you draw the line when you're waiting in line for coffee? You get one of these coffee douches that wants to take 30 minutes to place an order. It should take 30 seconds.
I don't know, man. I feel like the line is when they start getting pissy with the barista or whatever, male or female barista. I don't know what the proper gendered term for a barista is.
I think it stays barista. I think it
Baristo?
It's not. No, I don't think it's Spanish. I don't think they add the O. I think it just stays barista.
Fuck. All right. Well, I tried. You can't yell at me for not trying. I don't mean you. I mean the general audience. Dude, when you start getting shitty with the people serving you coffee, that's the line. And then I think not only are you open to giving somebody an Americana, but you can give them a Kimura too.
I prefer the Kimura anyway, but there is that play on words, so I understand why the author went that route. But
Yeah.
Kimura is clearly the dominant submission out of those two.
I was gonna say, like, that's definitely why he wrote a funny book, whereas I try to make a funny podcast and don't really. We're still working on that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, when you start like getting shitty to people who are giving you coffee or food or whatever, that's the time you're allowed to step in, put your gi on, and you can Americana that person.
I wonder if there's like a phone booth that he went into and like threw his gi on like Superman real quick and then came out, was ready to go.
I mean, it's possible. Was he a blue belt in that?
I think he's a blue belt in that.
I think he learned that blue belt. I'm not sure. You can get into your gi really quick.
Pretty sure that was strategic that he was wearing a blue belt in that picture.
Oh, yeah. Ready to show off them skills. Now, we'll say, as a blue belt, I have had a coffee incident. Somebody, what was it? We went from gi class to kickboxing class. This was on a Saturday. So I stayed for the kickboxing class, and somebody dropped coffee on my gi. It was the white show your roll.
I was going to say it had to be a white gi if that happened.
Oh, yeah. It was the koi. It was like the really nice Rio koi. And I guess the person just kind of snuck out of the gym and didn't say anything about spilling the coffee. Because when I picked up my top, it was like partially brown. That's my coffee story. Not very exciting, but
yeah, that's not good jiu-jitsu etiquette. If you spill something on your buddy's gi, just tell him.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's fucked up.
Should have Americana'd them.
That's
probably why they didn't tell me, because I would have.
Yeah, you should have Americana'd them. No sweetener, just straight up Americana.
Straight dark Americana. All right, so I guess I'll throw mine in here. This is one of my favorites, right? Because I'll say, I don't care who you are. We joke about it all the time on this show. We talk about white belts and blue belts being some of the most outspoken. Jesus, I can't even talk today. Some of the most outspoken. God, should I just leave? I should leave.
You just need some coffee, man. You just need some coffee.
That's why, man. I'm tired of shit. Some of the most outspoken advocates for jiu-jitsu. And we joke about it because we've both been there. I know we have. So here's the scenario, right?
Yeah.
You're at a party with your girlfriend, boyfriend, I don't give a shit. Her friends, all of your friends are pitching in for a pay-per-view. And since jiu-jiteros, like us, are notoriously broke, 43 friends are cramming into a basement to watch the fights. We've all been there. We've definitely all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Your absence caused panic. Nobody was sure how to divide up the remaining dollar, forcing your gym to host an in-house tournament to determine who would pay and who would not. You tried to prevent it. You tried to attend, but you had no choice. You never hang out with her friends, and you are always at the gym. You owe her this, and you know why. It's only fair, and if you can't see that, you should really be asking yourself why you're in this relationship at all. That's pretty good advice, actually.
It is.
But those are her words, not yours. That's what it says in the book. You follow your girlfriend from click to click, meeting people and promptly forgetting their names. No matter. After the introductions, you stand there silently while your girlfriend shares inside jokes with friends and coworkers. You sip your beer and smile, glancing around at the small army of non-jiteros in the room, occasionally checking your phone for updates on the fight. He does what? It's called jiu-jitsu, your girlfriend says. I've never heard of that. An overtanned blonde replies. She looks at you. Is that like training UFC? Something like that. Yeah. How is that fun? The technique involved is actually pretty interesting. It's really cool how leverage and strategy can help a little guy to beat a big guy. That's what makes it fun. That's what you say. Do you think you could beat my boyfriend up? The blonde asks. What? Could you beat him up? He bodybuilds. He's really strong. You hesitate, unsure of how best to navigate the many verbal, booby traps set out before you. I don't think you could. He's a lot bigger than you. She points to the man across the room, his biceps as thick as your waist. That's him. Now, mind you, this is a big jiu-jitsu show. I've never had this fucking problem. All right. So you and your girlfriend, you feel your girlfriend looking at you, and when you turn to face her, her eyes burrow into your mind. Somehow she uses the darkness of her pupils to plant a message in your brain. The message reads, keep your damn mouth shut. We hardly ever go out, and I just want to have fun. Just this once. Don't ruin this for me. Do not start shit with my friends. I will kill you. Now, I'm not going to finish the rest of it because I want to kind of... You asked me, so now I ask you.
Yeah.
Where does it go from here?
Man, and I think if you've been in this game long enough, we've all been in almost the exact scenario this describes. That's one of my favorite things about this book is that he puts a lot of humor in there, but he uses realistic scenarios and then just obviously exaggerates the responses and options from there. There's some good advice in this book, and I think one of them is in this chapter. I think that in that moment, the right thing to do is keep your mouth shut, play the humble card, you know, yeah, hey, you're right. You're a big guy, big, strong guy. I wouldn't want to mess with you and just roll with it because it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things whether you could break his arm or not. But that's not always what I've done. And that's not always what any one of us have done in a similar scenario. It's not always some big muscle bound guy either. Sometimes it's just somebody starts talking about what you do and they're just like, oh, well, man, when I get into a street fight, I just black out and there's no stopping me. I get so mad.
I hate those guys.
Yeah. I'll just grab you by the nuts. I'm not gonna play by the rules. I don't fight fair. And you're just like, okay.
Cool,
and this is somebody that's probably never been in a fight in their entire life, because all of us know that unless you train it, you're probably not gonna fucking do it, right? And so all those arguments go out the window. And I've been that guy in that scenario to say, you know what? Not really worried about it, not really scared of him at all. If he wants to roll sometime, I'm happy to do it. And then before you know it, turns into a roll right there in the party, and you ruin it, and your girlfriend gets pissed at you, and you go home, and it turns into a big knockdown drag out. And no matter how talented jiu-jitsu is, you're not going to win that fight. You're sleeping on the couch that night. That's what's going to happen.
But I will be sleeping with a giant smile on my face because my jiu-jitsu has proven itself to be superior than the guy running his mouth. But yeah, it's actually, honestly, bad shit happens from that. I don't advise it. Maybe it's because we're just older, man. Because, if I was 23, 24 again, I absolutely, yeah, dude, fuck that guy up. Absolutely. Yeah. You think, dude, come on, let's go. Let's do it right now.
Yeah. We used to have things, and I'm sure a bunch of the listeners have had this too. When I was in high school, my cousin, who I'm more like a brother than a cousin, Andy, great guy. We used to have house parties at my house all the time with friends from both of our high schools, and we'd have the UFC event on back before it cost you your month's salary to watch a UFC. We would put it up on pay-per-view and all watch the fights and order pizza and have this great time. And every single time it would turn into like a battle royale. Every time. It didn't matter. One person would start saying something because we had guys that trained in boxing or wrestling or jiu-jitsu. You had all these different styles represented because we're all friends and stuff. But, like any other social group, you got to have your alpha. And so somebody's going to start getting their ego challenged. And before you know it, you're having your own UFC. Back then I was watching it UFC 20 something, 30 something.
Oh yeah.
That's how old I am at this point. But, same kind of situation, except at least there it's a bunch of guys. We beat the shit out of each other. It's socially acceptable. Everybody's happy. I would say save the moment for that.
Save the moment. Y'all are friends.
When you're with your girlfriend at a party, or your wife at a party, or your mistress at a party, whatever. Don't spoil it. Just play the humble card.
Yeah, I suck. That's all there is to it. Like I get beat up all the time.
Especially if you have a mistress, because then you're gonna have to go home with a black eye and explain where the fuck it came from. Right?
Keep it quiet. Keep it very.
We're joking. Don't have a mistress. Don't
do that. What I was gonna say was a scenario that didn't happen to me. I got to witness it though. Was my good friend Brian, not Coach Brian Mingy, but like Brian, did Muay Thai together since 2001. I've known him forever. We had a UFC at our apartment because it was me, Brian, and Scott. Excuse me. And we had a few people from work over, and we're watching it. And one of the dudes sits up. He wrestled for a bit, and we had mats in the apartment actually, so we'd occasionally roll or spar or do something in the apartment. And he was like, "Hey, the Navy ride is unbeatable. That guy in the UFC, or the guy fighting right now, if you put him in the Navy ride, there's no way like he could get out of it." And he would just take him down and he'd just dominate him from there. And like to this day, I still haven't looked up the Navy ride because I don't really give a shit what it is. Because Brian said, I don't think it's going to work. And dude said, well, let me show you. When we put you in the Navy ride, we got mats over here. And Brian said, well, I really don't want to do that. The guy's like, come on. Now, mind you, this dude actually had a bit of size on Brian. Brian goes over there, Homeboy puts Brian in the Navy ride. Brian looks at him and just like pushes him off of him. Like not much like effort at all. He's like kind of like got like a horse stance thing going on there. And guy's like, see, look, you can't go anywhere. And Brian just shoves him kind of like off of him and he falls off. So, well, let me try it again. Let me lock it up a little better. Gets Brian back in the Navy ride. Brian just shoves him off. Well, normally that'd work. I don't know why it's not working.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
I mean,
well, and that's always
like
that's always the answer, and that's one of my favorite things about moments like that is it's kind of like a testing ground to see what works and what doesn't. The Navy ride sounds like a very homoerotic thing.
Actually, let me look it up right now. Navy ride.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying that's what it's.
Do you think? The Navy ride series? What the fuck is this?
And I remember also being younger and way back early on in martial arts days when I was doing kung fu, and I tried my kung fu skills against a boxer and woke up a few minutes later with a new video of me getting knocked the fuck out. So,
ooh.
Oh yeah, no, it's that those types of scenarios you'll find out real quickly what works and what doesn't. Thankfully, jiu-jitsu works really well. So,
I'm kind of looking at. I guess this is actually the Navy ride right now. It's, yeah, he just put him to the side. I guess he didn't have enough good pressure or was a good wrestler to keep Brian down. But then again, Brian's kind of wiry, and I'm surprised he didn't just punch him right in his face. That really could have worked too. But there you go, man. All right, let's pick another part of the book.
All right. So I was looking at a part of the book where it talks about the definitive guide to pulling guard in a crowded club. Yeah. So it says in this section, I'm going to reveal to you one of the greatest and most sought after secrets in all of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu: how to pull guard in a crowded club. It says, as jiu-jitseros, we often hear about how if we used guard at the bar, our attackers, cronies, would kick our heads in with their stylish shoes, or we may end up landing in a puddle of Miller beer and bad decisions. These are legitimate concerns, but they're overblown. And it goes on to talk about different concepts of pulling guard. And it says right here, are you ready? You might want to sit down. This experience will rival the feeling of seeing Royce Gracie land a submission for the first time in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The first rule of pulling guard in a crowded club is do not pull guard in a crowded club. The second rule of pulling guard in a crowded club is do not pull guard in a crowded club. And the third rule of pulling guard in a club is see rules 1 and 2. So it says, let's break this down from a different angle. If you find yourself in an altercation within a crowded club, a dive bar, a locker room, shady street corner, or if you're being attacked by an axe-wielding madman, do not pull guard. So it goes on from there. It's a pretty funny chapter, but it's also, again, humor, but with a twinge of very good advice sprinkled on top like little seasoning. And pulling guard in its purest form is ill-advised in a self-defense scenario. Does not mean that you should not know how to pull guard. It does not mean that you should not know how to fight from your back from a closed guard position or the different options of guards. I personally think that half guard is very important for self-defense. I've had some people argue with me about that, but I think it's really important because it's a good jiu-jitsu player can almost always get back to some semblance of half guard. And so to me, it's really important that you have a game in your half guard system. But pulling guard is almost always ill-advised unless you're in a grappling only environment. I'll never say always. I said almost always, because there's always some crazy scenario where maybe pulling guard is your next best solution. It's not a good thing. It's not the best case, but it's better than just getting your face beat in. So that chapter is pretty funny. And to summarize, do not pull guard in a crowded club.
No, I do agree with you. I think it's very dependent. I joke about not pulling guard because taking people down is the way it should be. Get on top, stay on top.
Right.
As Chris Howder says, I agree with that 100% because at the end of the day, this is a martial art that you and I are both doing. So it's kind of a big deal to make sure you can defend yourself.
Right.
But if it does, but I definitely would not want to pull guard in a crowded club, nor would I want to pull guard on a bigger guy than me either.
No. No. Why would you willingly put yourself in bottom? The
Yep.
thing about jujitsu and what any high level jiu-jitsu person will tell you that's been in a fight or has served in a position where they fight often is that, and I'm not even talking strictly about MMA competition, MMA fights. I'm talking real fights like self-defense type of situations or law enforcement having to go hands-on or military in a hand-to-hand combat situation. Real fights where there's a real cost outside of just losing the fight. Even MMA though, most of the time, you don't want to willingly put yourself in the bottom because when there are strikes allowed and things of that nature, you are putting yourself at a disadvantaged position right out the gate. Guard is phenomenal. Guard allows you to control somebody's hips and control their posture and control their movement and kind of, some distance management in there. You can create it, take it away. And so when you're on bottom, guard is the best position to be in. But I think anybody that says they would rather be on bottom than top in a real fight hasn't really been in a real fight because being on top is where it's at. You can dish out the most punishment while taking less. You have a myriad of submission options available to you, and you have the beautiful ability of disengaging whenever the fuck you feel like it. So, very important.
You got the Nike defense too, man. You just get up and run. Get the fuck out of there.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
All right, last one. Here we go. This scenario. Now, mind you, I'm going to preface this. We all know Randy and I love shooting. Absolutely. Yep. That's just what we do. I think it's a piece of the puzzle for all sorts of self-defense, whether it's hopefully, like for me, I hope I never have to get to that point because, it's my house. Now I'm like unleashing rounds in my house. I don't want that to ever happen, but I'd rather have all those skills ready to go and never need it than be like, oh, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah.
And get 100%. Yeah, because then I know my wife and my dogs will be safe.
I also don't want to submit my sweet ass firearms to the ATF when I shoot somebody either. That's another part of it.
Yeah, that sucks too, man. And fucking, was it Louis C.K. said it best, man. I just want to take care of the guy. I don't want to do drywall.
Yeah.
So there's all that. That's a lot of work.
And none of us want to hurt anybody, but damn, you break into my house, you come to my castle, we're going to have some trouble.
Yeah, and if you make me do drywall, I might just forego the gun if you don't have one and just beat you to death. Well, I fired around and it's through the drywall and I have to replace that beam. I'm sorry, man. I hope you don't have a gun because now I'm just gonna fight you, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
Gotta break an arm. Gotta break an arm on you for this one. But so here's the scenario. You're at your family cookout. You manage to duck your crazy great aunt and your great grandmother, both of whom are convinced you are still 8 years old, but are entangled in a conversation with your parents about your life and your career. Okay, we'll skip that. It doesn't really apply for me or you.
No.
You stutter your way out, stepping backward with every syllable, and make your escape. You loop around the above-ground pool, giving it a wide berth because your cousins are swimming and they're little shits. Slip between the swing set and the sandbox and work your way into the conversation by the beer coolers. Absolutely.
Yeah, good place to be.
Your older brother brought his new girlfriend, and she is talking about guns with your redneck uncle. You casually listen, preferring a discussion of trigger setting. What was that? Excuse me. Preferring a discussion of trigger setting and barrel bores to a discussion of your hopeless future and your unique ability to endlessly disappoint your parents. The conversation continues. Your little brother's girlfriend and your redneck uncle talk about their love for the National Rifle Association. Member. That's okay. She has the same sticker on her convertible that he has on his farm use only pickup truck. They rattle off dozens of brand names and metric measurements. Then your little brother's girlfriend looks up and notices you are sipping your wine cooler. Don't hate on them, man. Those are fucking good.
I disagree. When I was, 18 years old, they were good.
Fuck, I thought we were going to be friends forever, but that's okay. I don't think we've met, she said. Wine coolers hey, I haven't gone White Claw. Let's say that. I haven't even done White Claw.
You haven't done the White Claw thing? Good.
No.
My girlfriend likes White Claw, and I'm trying to convert her.
That's fine. Hey, Chelsea likes White Claw. That's cool, too. But for me, if I'm going to be fancy, I got to be like a German beer or something. This is the way. Okay. I don't think we've met, she says. Your little brother introduces you. Oh, you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? She asks. You know that answering this question never ends well.
Right.
But you nod nonetheless. I took a few self-defense classes, she says, but My dad bought me a handgun. There's no punch or kick that can beat a gun. You take a long drink. Well, you say, learning a martial art would still be useful just in case you can't get to your gun fast enough. Huge proponent of that, actually.
Yeah.
What? You don't think I'm fast enough? She reaches into her purse and draws the gun, a pink Beretta. She cocks it and points it at you. Was that fast enough for you? Huh? You drop your wine cooler, spilling the sweet purple nectar into the grass. You raise your hands and try to breathe. Where's your fancy judo now, huh? Aren't you going to kick the gun out of my hand and flip me over? Huh? This is freedom. This is America. This is the only martial art I need. Made in America, not in Brazil. Her hand shakes. The pink barrel blurs as it rocks in and out of your face. You're right, I'm sorry. You say jiu-jitsu is silly kid stuff. You win. All right.
Yeah.
I feel there's a place for both, man.
There is. I'd like to say about the glaring weapon safety issue in there.
No shit, I forgot all about that. My bad.
Yeah. Don't point your guns at people.
Yeah.
Unless you're intending on using it on them. Or it's a blue gun, fake gun without any ability to fire, then go at it. Or if it's laser tag or simunitions or paintball. But
even simunitions, can we just not shoot at each other for a while? That shit hurts, man.
It does, man. It hurts so well. It does. Especially it hits you in the hand. That's the worst spot ever, right in the hand.
Oh man.
No, I agree with you. 100%. There's a place for both. You should have both. If you have a gun, you should train in self-defense and martial arts. If you don't have a gun, you definitely need to train in that. But if you train in martial arts, you should also seek out training in weapons because now I don't really buy 100% into some of the exaggerated Kali systems out there. Some of them are really good. Some of them are basically just the same as doing some traditional martial art that has no basis in reality. But you should train in something. And if you in today's society, if you're going to train in weapons, one of the first ones should be firearms. Be familiar with how they work. Be familiar with how to manipulate them, how to reload them, how to retain them. I don't put a lot of training into how to take them away because in my line of work, nobody robs a cop. So it's not like I can just give them my wallet and distract them and then punch them in the face. It's going to be basically get off the X, create some distance, drop my weapon, return fire. And that's kind of my takeaway. But it doesn't hurt to do some reps on that. I like very simplistic, straightforward things that can be replicated under stress. And for me, the thumb, like we know in jiu-jitsu, is the weakest part of the grip. And so my takeaway is centered around that concept. But long answer to a short question, yes, you got to do both. You got to train weapons, you got to train martial arts. If you're going to have weapons, you absolutely have to train in martial arts. Absolutely. Yeah,
you're not going to do jiu-jitsu once every 3 months for 30 minutes.
No.
So why are you going to, if you're going to have a weapon and intend on like carrying it or whatever, you should probably spend a little more time on it than once every 3 months. And that's just me.
And there's so much carryover too. And you know this, Rob. Like when you talk about footwork, when you talk about proprioception, right? If you don't know what the word is, go look it up. I'm not going to explain it right now. But basically, in a nutshell is if I'm fighting Rob, I'm going to square up to him like I am right now and put my center line aimed at him so that I have all my tools that are now able to, get at him. And now you talk about range as well in addition to that proprioception. But, that when I shoot, I want to be square to my target. I want to be able to, have that natural point of aim and reflex to be able to thrust out and shoot at my target. And when you do martial arts for years, especially striking arts, more so than jiu-jitsu, but when you do striking arts, like Rob has done Taekwondo for years, I've done boxing for a long time. And so when you look at those types of systems, we throw jabs or some kind of lead hand technique or a punch thousands upon thousands of repetitions over the years. And you can, without even really truly looking at your target, just kind of using, peripheral vision and just kind of body feel, I can throw my jab and be really accurate. I mean, I can go out the garage right now and 5, 6, 7 times in a row, hit that double end bag and not miss it when it's bouncing all over the place because it's muscle memory. Yeah. So now when you grab your gun and you punch out towards your target, it's right there because it's the same idea. Your stance, your footwork, all those things carry over. So it doesn't take a lot. If you're a martial artist, I hope you don't hear my cat.
She's it's fine. It's fine.
So yeah, I'm a cat guy. For listeners, I'm a cat. I got a cat. So, yeah, it carries over, so it doesn't take a lot of training. And then I would imagine, conversely, if you're a competitive shooter and you spent hours upon hours of time shooting on the move and trigger time and sight picture alignment, that you can relate positionally to a lot of the martial arts things. So you got to do both.
I agree. Man, we're on the same page except for wine coolers, man.
Yeah.
It's okay. Somebody who will not be named for, I guess, safety reasons slash criminality. I went over to their house. I came back from I was in Fort Hood for a while, so before I deployed, I came home for a 4 day weekend, and she's a family friend. She said, "Oh, welcome home. Here, you can drink with me." It was Arbor Mist. I don't even think that counts as wine.
I don't think
It's
so.
it's like legit fruit juice with like grain alcohol in it. And so I'm like, "Oh God," and finished my glass out of being polite. And she's like, "Good, here you go," and just dumped it back in. I'm like, "Oh
Oh no.
God, just keep going, man."
Hmm.
I think I got through a few, and I just did not feel very good afterwards. So yeah,
Yeah,
maybe now that I think back on it, wine coolers are not very cool. So I'll change my viewpoint.
I was getting ready to say, if we hang out and you bust out a wine cooler, like we hang out and like, hey, BYOB, and you show up with this like Yeti cooler, and inside that Yeti cooler you bust out some wine coolers, I'm probably gonna just say, all right, man card, give it up, man card.
Oh fuck.
Gotta put a little punch in it now.
Okay, no more fucking wine coolers, I guess. Damn. All right, so before we head out, Randy, you got anything for our listeners and friends out there watching, listening, doing whatever?
I think, hey, I'm looking forward to. I think we're in that home stretch, getting back in the gym. So start preparing, start doing your solo drills and warm ups and stretches. Start prepping yourself to get back in there. I'm excited to get back on the mats with my fighting family. I know that for sure. And maybe now we won't take it for granted, especially you blue belts that ghost on us. So,
Oh yeah.
no, I'm just excited to get back out there and start doing my thing, man.
I'm ready for it too, man. Soon enough, we'll be out there. We'll be rolling. It'll be good. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another episode of the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, sponsored by Trap and Roll Soap Company, Tape Armor, and Rolls Gear. And you can find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob.
I'm Randy.
We'll catch you guys next time.